Negotiations are going on in Qatar to finalize the contours of the Israel-Hamas deal. According to reports, Hamas has said that it was briefed and it has briefed other Palestinian factions on progress and ceasefire talks. The Hamas group in a statement said that it hoped for a clear and comprehensive agreement. According to a draft of the deal being negotiated between Israel and Hamas, Israel will pay a steep price to secure the release of female soldiers being held hostage. The three-phase agreement would begin with the gradual release of 33 hostages over a 6-week period, including women and children, older adults, and wounded civilians in exchange for potentially hundreds of Palestinian women and children imprisoned by Israel. Among the 33 would be 5 female Israeli soldiers, each of whom would be released in exchange for 50 Palestinian prisoners, including 30 convicted security prisoners who are serving life sentences.
"466 days on, the much-awaited Israel-Hamas truce is nearing a close. There's hope that the war, which witnessed over 46,000 deaths in Gaza and the killing of 405 IDF soldiers, could end within 24 hours, if there are no last-minute glitches. This amid reports of Hamas accepting the draft deal. Negotiators are meeting in Qatar, hoping to finalize details of a plan to end the war in Gaza, after US President Joe Biden indicated a ceasefire and hostage release deal was imminent.
On the war between Israel and Hamas, we're on the brink of a proposal that I laid out in detail months ago, finally coming to fruition. I have learned in many years of public service to never, ever give up.
Netanyahu's cabinet, however, is divided. His far-right National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has sparked a row after he claimed of repeatedly foiling the hostage deal over the last year. In a message, he called on Finance Minister Smotrich to join him to quit coalition if the deal is through.
The deal being forged is a deal of surrender to Hamas. I am calling on my friend, Minister Bezalel Smotrich, to join me in cooperating together against a deal being forged. Otzma Yehudit, his party, alone does not have the power to prevent the deal, but together we can go to the Prime Minister and inform him that if he passes the deal, we will withdraw from the government.
In the first stage of the potential deal, Hamas will reportedly release 33 hostages, including children, women, female soldiers. On the 16th day after the release, negotiations will begin on the second stage to free the remaining captives, comprising male soldiers, men of military age, and the bodies of hostages killed by Hamas. 94 of the 251 hostages abducted by Hamas on October 7th are believed to be in Gaza. Reports claim Israel will hold on to high-profile Hamas militants to use as leverage in the second stage of talks to ensure that every hostage is released. As per the potential deal, the IDF troops will withdraw from most areas of Gaza but stay in a buffer zone inside Gaza. During the period between the two stages, the military will continue to hold the Philadelphia corridor along the Gaza-Egypt border. One sticky issue could be the handover of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's body, captured by the IDF. An Arab media outlet reported that Hamas was demanding the body of its former leader in the first stage of the deal. But as per an Israeli government source, Jerusalem is not ready for that. While negotiators are leaving no stone unturned to reach a deal, Israel continues to pound Gaza. US Secretary of State Blinken hopes the plan will serve as a blueprint for Gaza's governance. Now, all eyes are on the negotiators, who race against time to reach a deal ahead of Trump's inauguration.
All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Professor David Dunn, Professor of International Politics in the Department of Political Science and International Studies at the University of Birmingham. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us on WION. Many are cautiously optimistic. Others are wondering, why should this one be the deal that goes through?
I think what we have here is a significant point in time at the end of the Biden administration before Trump takes over, where there is really an opportunity to get this done and over the line now, or all the interlocutors on the American side will change, and therefore they will be coming into the position of the White House wanting to review where they are, and it will inevitably bring about delays. I think another aspect of this is that the Trump administration itself has been putting pressure on both Hamas and on the Netanyahu government in Israel, saying you need to make a deal. You can't expect us to be supporting you, in the case of Netanyahu, to do a more hardline position. We want this thing over. And therefore, Netanyahu recognises that he hasn't got what he may have hoped for, a more sympathetic Trump administration on this particular issue, and therefore he needs to make a deal. And then internally, although we've heard that there's threats of people on the right of Netanyahu's cabinet are threatening to leave the cabinet, that won't bring down his government, because Netanyahu has put together a coalition domestically which will allow him to bring this deal about. So all those things coming together make this a ripe time for a deal. And of course, the Hamas recognise that they're in a very weak position and need to actually make ground on this for fear of what Trump could do otherwise.
And you remember that Trump has President-elect Trump has time and again said that if hostages are not released before the day he's inaugurated, all hell would break loose. And now the debate is already ongoing whether or not it was the Biden administration who succeeded for this possible deal, or was it the Trump effect, or perhaps even Qatar. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there are different ways of looking at this. I mean, the Trump team will claim success, no doubt. One way of looking at it, however, is that if the Trump candidacy and the administration, after the election, had said we support the Biden administration, this may have come about earlier. But the prospect of Trump being more conciliatory to Netanyahu has actually undermined the efforts of the Biden administration to bring this conflict to an end quicker. Trump was very keen to actually exploit the political differences, or perceived political differences, between his approach and Biden's approach during the electoral process, and that may well have delayed the agreement being reached, because the framework that we're seeing being implemented here was first mooted in May, was revisited in July, and effectively it's more or less where we are now, and yet the political process in America could be seen to have actually delayed that thing coming to fruition until this point.
Very interesting. Professor Dunn, I appreciate your company. Thank you so much for those analyses.
Always a pleasure.